Midnight screens, cold case files, whispers buried under miles. Headlines loud, but facts feel thin, so we dig where the lies begin. Read between the lines they miss, question every narrative twist. No blind faith, no borrowed proof, only logic, only truth. This is cryptex break the code. Truth ain't told, it's overthrown. Through the dark, through the noise, we raise facts, not just a voice. Cryptex, follow every thread. Truth survives what fear has said.
The probable cause is a joke.
Hello guys, how are you? Cryptex here. I just took a pill and I'm super sleepy. I hope I'm not gonna sleep during the streaming tonight. Happy 2026, guys. I'm so glad to be with you in this new year. I hope you had a very nice Christmas time, and of course I wish you a happy new year, guys. So I'm very interested in the microphones case. The idea for this year is to increase the scope of my channel. I'm not going to talk only about Delphi, so I'm going to talk also about the microphones case. I'm not going to overwhelm the channel. I really want to dig deep into the cases I'm going to cover. So one of them, of course, is going to be the Delphi's case, which is the case of my heart. But also I'm very interested in this case, the Michael Fons case. I think there are a lot of similarities between that case and Delphi. A lot of secrecy from the side of the law enforcement, a lot of unanswered questions, fishy situations that I really don't like. So I'm new in the case, and I'm gonna try to understand the case properly. So today I'm gonna revisit the timeline of the case. I don't feel that the suspects that are in the scope of law enforcement are necessarily the guilty people, let's say. I don't know. And this is Analysette, I guess. Hey, hi, how are you, Anna? Happy to have you here. My dog is good. I was so scared yesterday. She was she was not able to breathe properly, and I'm paranoid. So we went to the vet. Finally, there was nothing. The vet said it's maybe a flu, a cold, but today she's good. So I don't know. I was just paranoid a little bit. So yeah, that's the situation. Thank you, Anna, for asking, and sorry for yesterday. I was supposed to go live to talk about this, but it is what it is. So I know, Anna, that you know a lot about this case, so if you can help me during the live with some questions or some comments, it's going to be so much appreciated. I prepared a timeline. I used some material I already had with Eve. I know that Eve is in the innocent side when we talk about the Wandras. I think she's asking valid questions, and I'm not gonna stay also with her point of view, but I think it was interesting to add to the timeline the questions Eve is asking. So no more protocol, maybe just to answer to your question here, Anna. Maybe the little dog ate some holiday treats that were not okay, like chocolate, macadamia nuts. Maybe I know. I'm not sure. I try not to give her any chocolate. I know that's bad for the dogs, but I don't know. I don't know what was wrong. But so far, so good. So I hope it's gonna be like that in the next days. So I'm gonna play the timeline I prepared. I'm gonna stop from time to time, and yep, that's the idea. So I'm gonna go with the flow, guys. Here.
And as I knew it would be. And I believe that there is a cover up potentially happening right now, or has been since the beginning. For anybody that doesn't know, Michael Vaughan went missing in Fruitland, Idaho, near or around his home, allegedly between 6:40 and 7 p.m. on July 27th, 2021. There's been a lot of secrecy from the police, and there's a lot of weird things going on. And so that they do have a suspect that has been arrested and charged with first-degree murder, second-degree kidnapping, and destruction of evidence. And I do not believe that he is guilty at all. I'm actually, I believe that he is innocent, or at least did not do the crime they're saying that he did.
So I'm gonna go with the timeline right now. Annalisette says my bottom line on the case is, how does Stacy Wandra know so much or talk so much, and in the way he does, if he's innocent and knows nothing, officially innocent until proved guilty in court. So we're gonna go there, Anna. And I know you know more than me, but I have some ideas and we can discuss. Ms. Rubach is here. How are you? Happy to have you here. Thank you so much for being here again. So now let's go with the timeline. Yeah, me too. I love it. I love it. Again, I'm new in the case, and so far I like the questions she's asking about the case. It's really fishy for sure. Anna, Stacy blames his wife Sarah for kidnapping and otherwise. He blamed her, but after the confession, he recanted the confession. We are gonna go there. At worst, he places himself in a home and a vehicle when the crime allegedly took place. Is really that the case? I'm not sure. So let's go with the timeline here. First of all, of course, we are talking about Michael Vaughan. You know, he went missing in July 27, 2021. That's the day of the disappearance. But we're gonna talk about the day or the time prior to his disappearance, because there's something important there. Before going there, of course, we're gonna talk during the streaming about Sarah Wandra, Stacy Wandra, Brandon Sherlift, I think is his family name, and Adrian Lucian, who is the guy at the right side of the screen, the black guy. Having trouble with my cursor. Okay. So something interesting here, guys. Prior to the disappearance of Michael Vaughan, month before the disappearance of this guy, sorry, there was a pink tricycle that was observed at the house of the Wandras, at the house of Sarah Wandra and Stacy Wandra. In that house, they were living together with the other two guys, Brandon and Adrian. They were like roommates. So let's take this into consideration, because this is a very important element in this case, the tricycle, because the tricycle is later linked to the Michael's disappearance. So this is Fruitland, Ohio. Here we have the house of Michael Vaughan, the guy who disappeared, 5 years old. And here we have the house of the Wandras. What I understand is that the distance from one house to the other house is really short. It's like a 4 minutes drive, let's say, is nothing. Before continuing, I can see some comments here, so I'm gonna go back and forth to the chat. Anna, Stacy blamed. Okay, we already read this one. Southwest 8th Street is a big road between two subdivisions. Michael's neighborhood is. Sorry, my dog is barking. Cripsy! Silence! She's barking, sorry for that. Southwest 8th Street is a big road between two subdivisions. Michael's neighborhood is on one side and Wandras on the other. Doesn't mean a lot, but that 8th Street is the main entrance road. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, Idaho. Oh my God. I told you guys, I took that pill and I'm so sleepy. Fruitland, Idaho. Sorry for that. Mark and Betty, how are you, Mark? And how are you, Betty? Happy to have you here. So again, we have this tricycle being, she's barking. This tricycle being in the suspect house, the Wandras house, months before the disappearance of Michael Fons, and that feels like some type of a bait. So let's continue here with the timeline. So we have the tricycle, we have the Wandras, and we have the Wandras house, right? Now, the day of the disappearance. Let's go to the day of the disappearance of Michael. Oh, sorry, my cursor is acting weird. So again, the Wandras house, the tricycle, the Wandras on the spring 2021. Now let's go to the day of the disappearance of Michael. So the day of the disappearance is July 27, 2021. All right. What happened that day? During the afternoon at 15:23, there's a camera capturing the white Lexus of Stacy Wandra in the Southwest 8th Street. So we know that here in the 9th Street, this is the Michael's home, right? Just here where we can see this red marker, let's say. And this is the 8th Street. So during the afternoon at 3:13, we have the white Lexus captured by a camera. So really close to the Michael's house, right? Now, later, from 5:08 and 5:56, Sarah, Brandon, and Adrian, they were driving a blue Toyota Corolla in Fruitland. So the three person of interest here, not Stacy, they were driving in the area using a blue Toyota Corolla, right? Let's continue here. At 6:08, Brandon, he's walking near the, what's the name again? The splash pad area. So again, really close to the Michael's home. One of the roommates living with the Wandras, he was walking in this area, right? This is Michael's home, and this is the Wandras home, right? Let's continue here, guys. So later, the same day, the neighbors, this is an artificial intelligence clip that I used just for educational purposes. This is not Michael, of course. but just to represent what was he doing this afternoon, just before his disappearance. He was wearing a blue T-shirt with Minecraft logos, let's say, and he was knocking on doors of some friends to play with them. The owners of those houses, they told him, go home. So it's like no time to play Michael, something like that, I imagine. So this is Michael, again, artificial intelligence generated clip, knocking on doors near to his house right before his disappearance with the intention to play with some friends, right? So that sighting was between 6:15 and 6:30, right? In between, when Michael was knocking on those doors, again, Brandon was still walking near the splash pad area. So he was still walking in this area. Again, he's one of the roommates of the Wandras. Let's continue here. So this is a very interesting element here, and this is gonna be something that is a little bit suspicious. There was a witness, Dorothy. I forgot her name. Let me go to my timeline here, my original timeline. Her name is Dorothy Starkey. Dorothy Starkey. She was driving westbound on Southwest 8th Street, and she says that she saw Michael riding a tricycle at the Red Wing Street and Mid Lock Avenue. So that was the final sighting of Michael alive. Again, we can do the link between the period prior to the disappearance, where we have the pink tricycle of the Wandras, the pink tricycle at the Wandras house, and now this woman, she saw Michael riding a tricycle just right before his disappearance. So she was the last person who saw Michael alive. This is a very interesting element of the case. We know that the last person that usually was in contact or was observing or was watching the person who disappeared potentially is connected to the disappearance. So I'm just speculating here, but that's why I put that sentence in red. So sorry, just give me a second. I'm having trouble with my cursor, guys. So sorry for that. So again, this is Michael knocking on the doors. Now we have Brandon at the splash pad, and here we have Dorothy watching Michael on the tricycle. Again, this is artificial intelligence generated, an artificial intelligence generated clip. Before continuing, I'm gonna go to the chat. Miss Rubag. Stacy only blamed Sarah because they tried to flip Sarah on Stacy. In the interview video, McDonough told Stacy Sarah threw him under the bus pretty much. They were trying to pit them against each other. Yes, and I'm gonna play later that statement that Stacy Wondra made about that. Anna, Stacy has described taking a taxi customer to Boise Airport in that white Lexus. 1523, I think, is the time he returned from that trip. I don't know. I took the timeline from like an official site, let's say. So according to this timeline here is crimetimelines.com. They said that at 15:23 p.m. Stacy Wandra was captured driving a Lexus, a white Lexus, into the splash pad parking area. So that is my source. So I'm not saying that my source is correct, but maybe you're right. I don't know. Miss Rubog. He went from Boise to Ontario to pick up someone to drop them off at ANW. What is ANW? I don't know. Analyzed. Police posted a picture of a white male they wanted to locate. At this time, it seems that that man was Brandon Shortleaf near the splash pad. I'm not sure. Let's see later because we have that image. Analyst said that artificial intelligence is really something. Yeah, it is. Huh? The PCA also says Michael was missing from 6 till 9:11 was called at 7:21. That over an hour. An hour is a lot. An hour is a lot. I agree with you. He told the story another way too. Like he started off to get the customer and he went to ANW on the way to getting the customer. What is ANW? Basic fact seems to be he did take the trip. Cryptex, here is my question. It says CCTV got the Wandras at the corner of the 8th Street in Arizona, where they pulled over. The PCA also says Michael was not in camera. Yes, that's one of them. The crazy stuff here. How so? Michael was not in camera. That's one of the main questions here for me. Again, I'm new, but that blows my mind. That blows my mind. Crazy, huh? Crazy, crazy, crazy. And a lot of us wonder about the CCTV or lack thereof. Yes, they never went into Michael's neighborhood. So it makes sense if Michael wandered toward their side of 8th Street. Anyways, I don't know how many cameras were there, but it's really weird that they didn't capture Michael on camera. It's just crazy. If the Wanders were seen pulling over, surely they would have been seen getting out and walking down Arizona. Boise. Okay, I was thinking in French. In French, it's like bois. So yeah, sorry for that. French explorers gave the name. Okay, thank you, Anna, for ANW is an all-time fast food. Yeah, I know that, of course. Okay, got it. I know, of course. I wonder if the Wanders parked near enough to something like a Ring doorbell to have been videoed. Maybe Michael was out of the line of sight, closer to the end of the street. Okay, let's continue with the timeline here. So Brandon was captured in camera walking toward the Wandras house. That was at 6:28. At 6:30, Tyler, his father, he sees Michael at home. So we are close to the time of the disappearance. Between 6:45 and 6:50, Tyler searches the home, the yard, and the neighborhood. He's worried about Michael being missing. So we have Tyler here looking for Michael. At 7:08, Sarah drives a GMC pickup truck with Stacy and Brandon. They drive to Cuna. What I understand is that Cuna is the town where the mother of Brandon lives. So Sarah is driving, and Stacy and Brandon they are with her driving to Cuna. So one of the hypotheses here is that the boy was there in this pickup truck, and they moved the guy to Cuna. Let's continue here. So at 7:21, Tyler, the father, he calls 911, and the Fruitland Police Department and the FBI, they get involved. At 7:26, Adrian, he takes a selfie at the Wandras guest bathroom. At 7:30, law enforcement and residents, they perform a ground search. There are also drones and helicopters. Some dogs, canines, track Michael scent to the end of their street. During the night, at 11:22, sorry, I should have wrote 23:22, but during the night, the Wandras pickup truck is returning to the neighborhood, and he's towing a Mercedes-Benz car. So they are captured in camera coming back to Fruitland, right? So that's basically what happened the day of the disappearance. Again, July 27, 2021. Coming back to the chat here, guys. Anna agrees with Rubog. The Wanders never went into Michael's neighborhood. So that's something, huh? The probable cause affidavit suggests Stacy got food at A&W and parked in the park where kids play. On a boiling hot day, that park is the perfect place to eat food. Only cool spot in Payette. Vicarious Vigilante. How are you, Vicarious? Happy to have you here. Anna, Cuna is about 60 miles down the freeway. Brandon's mom lives there. His vehicle was there, and they towed it back to Fruitland. So his vehicle was the Mercedes-Benz, I guess, right? Anna, the other weird thing about CCTV on 8th Street is the probable cause described Dorothy Starkey filmed entering or leaving the neighborhood. Yeah, how so? Was she entering or was she leaving? Yeah, that's a very good point, Anna. Thank you for that. So during the next months, the next 2 months, July to August, there was a massive search massive searches for Michael. He was not found. Again, as you said, guys, in the chat, this is one of the main crazy elements here. Michael doesn't appear on video surveillance. Another interesting thing is that the police, they conducted a search at the Wandras house, and Adrian, he was hiding in a closet. Stacy, Sarah, and Brandon, and Adrian, the 4 of them, the 4 suspects, were at the house present. Another interesting thing is that one of the dogs, using a Michael shoe, he followed. The name of the dog is Banshee. He follows scent straight to the Wandras residence. And we're gonna see what is the explanation for that Eve gave us She has a theory about that. But again, this is kind of relevant if one of the dogs was following the scent right to the Wandras residence. This is kind of suspicious, right? In my opinion. The scent trail continues into thorny bushes where a discarded stroller is located. So this is our good dog Banshee following the scent of Michael at the Wandras residence. This is the suspect house. So let's give a treat to this good dog. So let's continue here. So this is another interesting element here. The tricycle was found behind the Bluffs sign. So what's the situation there? What is weird? The tricycle was not present in that area or in that location the days prior when law enforcement was conducting the search, right? The one who found the tricycle was this guy called Jim Smith. He said that he found it beside the stroller and took it home briefly, but later left it behind the sign. He said that he was supposed to use the tricycle for a personal project. He wanted to take the wheels of the tricycle, but finally he changed his mind and he put back the tricycle there at the Bluffs sign. That's suspicious. I think this is one of the fishy actors here in this case. Let's talk about him later. Now, for now, let's continue with my beautiful timeline here, guys. I don't know why I put again the good dog there. So give me just 1 second here, guys. So that was now, before going with the events that occurred during the next months, April to June 2022, I'm gonna go to the chat. Okay, for 1 second. So Anna, yes, the Brando's vehicle was the Mercedes-Benz. Trailing scent is a real thing. Yeah, I agree with you. Vicarious Vigilante. And what about the stroller with his scent? Yeah, good question. Great question. Yeah, this is so sad, so bad. Anna, the tricycle thing is confusing. Here and there and over the bluff. Sounds like it could be left on the edge of the street as a bait for small children by someone. Yeah, I agree with you, Anna. It looks like a bait for sure. Are you down rabbit holes without me? No. I'm gonna wait for you, Vicarious. I'm gonna wait for you for sure. So in April 13, 2022, there was a gun incident at the Wandras resident. One of the witnesses here in this case, her name is, I think it's Christy Koch. She tells the detectives that Sarah confessed that Stacy abducted Michael. Later, Sarah said, no, that's not correct. Christy Koch, she misunderstood, so she recanted that confession. Sarah. Another interesting situation here. Who's telling the truth? Sarah, Christy Koch? I don't know. And later, in May 11, 2022, Sarah, she is arrested for the gun incident. So she was not arrested in relation to the disappearance of Michael Vaughan, but rather uh, for the gun incident at the Wandras residence. I think when we had Eve here, she said that the person who was involved in that gun incident is kind of suspicious. Could be like a main actor here in this case. Remember that the Wandras, they own a taxi company, let's say, and there were a lot of people that they had like access to the Wondrous house because of that type of business. So even if something happened at the Wondrous house, there were a lot of people having access to their residence. So we're gonna go there soon. On July 22, the police is asking to identify a man walking through the splash pad area at the time the boy went missing. So somehow they had this image of this guy walking near the splash pad area, and in July they went to the public with this picture, asking for help to identify the guy. Police said that this guy was not a suspect, but they wanted to talk to him. Something like in the Delphi's case with Bridge Guy, like this is a picture of a person of interest or a person we want to talk to. He's not necessarily a suspect, but we want to talk to him. So I don't know, Anna, if this is the guy you said that he's supposed to be Brandon. In an interview I watched to Brandon, he said that no way, this is not me. This guy is very skinny. The color of the skin is not mine. Those are not my clothes. So I don't know. I'm gonna go to the chat to see if hello Eve. Thank you for being here. And if you feel to call, I'm gonna drop the link just if you want to help me with this timeline here. Anna, there is not much about the mysterious stroller. Sounds like it had Michael's scent. Not sure what equals a stroller. Something to transport a small child. So it's good to have Eve here. Annalise said, right after the disappearance, Sarah's social media became very religious. It's reported she started standing on a busy street corner with a sign, repent, end of times is near. Yeah, but remember that Eve was telling us that she was very religious before as well. And I think she had a couple of channels in TikTok, and she was talking about religion in those channels. Also, I remember that I was watching today an interview with Brandon, and he was saying that Sarah and Stacy, they were always talking about religion, always. That today we're gonna go to that area because this is how God wants the day to start, something like that, with the taxi business. So I think she was already into religion before the date of the events here. Ms. Rubog, there's something about the stroller if it's not involved with a missing child and hidden in bushes. Why would it be in bushes? Yeah, good point. It is reported that the Wandras had a number of money-earning ideas. It said they did some babysitting. Sarah advertised doing laundry around the time of the disappearance. Yeah, that's what I was saying. If she's been religious on social media since 2018. A lot of stuff, including garbage. Maybe someone hoped it went all the way down. That's the picture police seem to think is Brandon. Yes, he has denied that that is him. Yeah, exactly. That's what I understood. If Brandon denies that the photo is him, everyone he knows says the same, that it is not him. So I think it's fair to say that that's not Brandon. Miss Rubog, I don't know, the Wandras had anything to do with the stroller. Otherwise, why was not it talked about more? It clearly had my consent, but then they not talking about it further. Okay, let's continue here with the timeline. So thank you guys for the information in the chat. So this guy is not it's not Brandon, right? By the way, question: do we know who's the guy or not? Did the guy went to talk to the police, or so far we have no idea who is the guy? On October 12th, there was a religious confession. God told me he will help me find the boy. That was Sarah, right? So let me go to November 2022. So on November 10, Stacy, he made a confession. He said Sarah carried Michael inside a car, that Sarah, Brandon, and Adrian bound him with duct tape. They placed him in a duffel bag. He suffocated. They drove to Brandon's mother's home in Cuna. And the next day, they came back to Friedland and buried Michael in the backyard near the shed. So that's what he confessed. On November 10, we know that there's the confession is out there in internet, but later he said that that confession was false, that he just wanted to get the cops away, that he was feeling pressure. So I'm gonna play a quick clip here where we see Stacy telling why he made a false confession. This is from the channel Hidden True Crime. That the wife of, not the wife, the husband of, what's the name of Lauren Matias? Anyways, the husband of the YouTuber there did an interview with Stacy, and Stacy said this about the confession, that the confession was false, basically.
Keep in mind with my disabilities and stuff, like part of, and I'm just telling you how it works with somebody with fetal alcohol syndrome.
Okay.
But when somebody gets interrogated to the point of to so much pressure, when somebody gets with fetal alcohol syndrome gets put, at least they did probably 4 interviews with me, 5 interviews, and each and every one of those videos interviews, I literally told them, I do not have any information for you. I don't know what happened to this little boy, and I don't even know who this person is or his family or anything. I know nothing of him. And keep in mind with my disabilities and stuff, like part of, and I'm just telling you how it works with somebody with fetal alcohol syndrome.
Okay.
But when somebody gets interrogated to the point of to so much pressure, when somebody gets with fetal alcohol syndrome gets put in an extensive amount of pressure,
Okay.
their automatic response is to respond with something to get them off their back, to get them off their case.
Okay.
So I made up that fable saying he was buried in the backyard, knowing damn well there was nobody ever buried in the backyard. But I made it that because I wanted to get them off my back.
So
I was tired of being.
Yeah.
I was in so much pressure and like literally tears.
Okay.
Because I didn't have anything to give them, and they were like, "Oh, you know something? Tell us what you know." I don't fucking know anything. I don't have the funniest clue what you guys are referring to.
Okay.
And so that's when I came up with that fable and told them he was buried in the backyard. And I specifically, now keep in mind, they kept pointing out the shed. I never told them he was buried by the shed. I said if you walk out the back door of the backyard, you walk straight towards the middle of the fence, he's right in the middle of the backyard. They specifically dug in that spot and found nothing. I knew they wouldn't.
Okay.
Because there was no boy ever buried in that yard.
So just so I'm clear, when you make these points, just so I'm clear, and just so we can dismiss that you're involved in this at all, would you be willing to say that I don't know what the police have looked at? I don't know if they've gone through your house. I'm not sure what they've done, but would it be fair to say that there would be no trace evidence whatsoever of Michael Vaughan in your yard, in your house?
Absolutely.
On your porch, anywhere around your property at all? There should not be any trace evidence or evidence that Michael Vaughan was ever at your residence. Would that be an accurate?
Correct.
Could you confirm that, please?
Absolutely, I confirm that.
Okay, thank you. So, when you say that the police pressure was really intense, I guess I understand what you're saying about like the fetal alcohol for sure. It's got to be difficult. But I had asked you earlier about how you cope with stress, and you said that you were really good with coping with stress. So you contradicted yourself a little there. Could you just explain that then?
Like I said, my biggest key essential to coping with stress is music.
Okay.
I didn't have that opportunity to listen to music in jail.
Okay.
So when you're in jail, you have to find alternative ways to cope with things because you're confined in a space. And so I did not have the same coping skills that I used on the outs as that I could use in jail. And so it was very hard for me. Normally I'm very good at, like I said, coping with being under pressure, being under stressful situations. But when you're in jail, it's a whole nother ballgame. You don't have resources or alternative to to help you relieve stress other than deep breaths. And being interrogated the way I was, music wasn't an option. Taking deep breaths wasn't an option. As much as I did use deep breaths, it just wasn't sufficient.
Hey there, can you hear me? Oh, I can hear you now. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear anything. Can you hear me? Oh no. Let me.
Sorry, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes.
I was muted. So maybe the problem was me, not you. How are you?
I am under the weather, but good.
Cool. So I'm just going through the timeline of the case. So I just put a link where Stacy Wandra was telling why he was doing a false confession, and it was basically the same type of thing you said during the last stream. He was trying to troll the cops to get out of that hole, basically, right?
Right. If there, I think that you requested a few things, and I'll get that to you. But I did send you something about Sarah being religious on her TikTok back in 2019 onward. So just to prove that.
Okay, thank you. I'm using my cell phone as the camera, so I cannot go to Twitter to go to your material, but I'm gonna do
Okay.
it later. Thank you, A, for the information. Another question I had: the guy that was like in the CCTV camera, and the police was saying, "Oh, this guy is Brandon," but basically, it's not him, right? Do we know who is the guy or not?
No. So in the PCA, the detective who wrote it said that Brandon said that if he was seen on camera, he was searching for the child. And so she inferred that Brandon was the walking man, is what we all call him. But that was not when Michael was reported missing yet.
Okay,
So she's making an assumption. But she did say in the PCA that they established that that was him, but we haven't seen any metadata, so we don't know for sure.
sure. And do you think that guy is somehow related to the case?
Well, he was never a person of interest when the chief of police, JD Huff, asked for them to come forward, for this walking man to come forward. We do know that Tyler Vaughan, the father, admitted to being in the same areas as where the walking man allegedly was. So could it be him?
Sure. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. We had an angry comment here. All four are guilty. Even the arrest warrants are ready to serve. Anyone who thinks these four are innocent are out of their minds, and you are hurting Michael's. So we were expecting that type of comments, but I'm just presenting the timeline tonight.
Why
Okay.
do we even have trials, right? Why do we need trials? Let's just get on with it and do it the old dirty justice way, I guess. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Eve. So let me go with continue with the timeline, and you can stop me when you want, just to clarify stuff. So we just had the confession of Stacy, and later on December 2022, there was the excavation of the Wandras residence. There were some dogs alerting to presence of human remains, and Michael was not found. And I know I'm being repetitive here, Eve, but if you can give us your point of view about the dogs, and why do you think they were alerting to the presence of human remains? Maybe it's not, they were not the remains of Michael, some old animal or something was, I don't know, buried there, something like that, right? Could be the option here.
Well, I mean, maybe Michael, let's say Michael was buried there. We don't know who actually did it, no matter what Stacy says. We don't know who actually did that, when that happened. It could have been
And
somebody planted something that would hit on remains, you know. We don't know if they're even Michael's. So how do we know the accuracy of the dogs and what they hit on if we don't know what they hit on? There's
Mhm.
going to have to be other DNA that matches to Michael specifically. And then they're going to have to prove how that got there and by whom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got it.
Sleepy.
Oh, I think my camera died. Sorry for that, guys. Slutty Goose is here. Thank you, Slutty, for being here. So yeah, I just wanted to go through the timeline. I think I already finished. The rest of the live is how can I say, a collection of clips from the interview I made to you last week. So I don't think you need something else to
And,
here. Basically, I'm gonna go with our conversation last time, Eve, because the idea of the streaming tonight was to see what is not adding up in this case, and basically you're the one having the good questions here. So I'm
Yeah,
just gonna.
and I didn't mean to bomb the you're live. I'm sorry. I saw a comment that I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that I'm sending you some of the receipts. But I know you can't access it right now.
Yeah, no problem. That's material for a new video. Slutty Goosey is asking, so did they find his DNA or not?
We don't know yet, but there was a recent $10,000 DNA testing done on something. And it was from a company in California that does a lot of extractions with that vacuum thing that kind of gets into maybe like porous surfaces that are hard to get DNA from or that have been degraded. So we'll see.
Yeah, let's see. And that's gonna be available on March next year. This year is already 2026, right? That's what I understood. We
That's
have
what I
to-
understand.
Great. So I don't know, Eve, you are welcome to stay if you want, but basically I'm gonna play our last streaming. So as you wish, if you want to stay to answer to some questions of the guys here in the chat, or if you have something to do, I'm not gonna bother you anymore. It's up to you. Of course, we love to have you here.
Appreciate it. I'll stay for a little bit. And if there's anything that needs to be clarified, just
Okay, I'm gonna stop from time to time to see what are the comments, or you can just interrupt. Big Fish is saying that this is a great show. Thank you so much. Slutty, they need to check that tricycle to see if he actually was ever touched. That tricycle stuff is really crazy, huh? Was the
well,
tricycle belonging to? Is Michael's tricycle? We don't know, yeah, right?
well, we do know that little sister had a tricycle, and Kay confirmed to me that that's the one that she pulled out of the bushes over by the end of Southwest 8th Street near the edge of the bluffs. And that was before Michael went missing. So I'm very interested in hearing more about that.
Mm-hmm. What's the name of the channel? The show from this guy, Chris McDonough? The interrogation
The interview
room?
room.
The interview room.
Mhm.
He showed a picture of a tricycle there. Is that the tricycle that was in the Wandras house? Do you know?
Well, that's what's being alleged. So in the PCA, they said that there was a tricycle that Tim Elko saw in spring of 2021 before Michael went missing. And I pulled the records of when they had a garage sale, and it was May of 2021. I have the permit.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that relevant to Michael? And are they sure it was in their garage? Because no one seems to remember this damn thing.
Mm-hmm. So weird, though. All right, so I'm gonna go with the video and let's see if the guys they have some questions. So this is Eve talking about the case, asking hard questions. and very relevant questions for sure.
Treasure Valley, they call it. It's Fruitland, Idaho. It's on the border of Oregon and Idaho near Ontario. So South Oregon and Idaho border. I think it's southeastern. But those bordering towns can get kind of tricky when people go missing because that's a state line issue. And so you have to get the feds involved, even though it's just, a 5-minute drive over the bridge. So that has made it very tricky. And there's the Snake River that runs, that cuts Fruitland and Ontario in half. So the issue is that everybody, thought that maybe he walked or, I don't know, got out of the house and went to the river, because a lot of autistic children tend to go towards water. There was no indication that he was autistic or was ever diagnosed. Matter of fact, the mother said that he was not. So that was kind of an issue, that nobody really knew where Michael's scent was tracking for a very long time. And I had tracked down things like officials making statements on a radio show saying we could not dictate where to go and search for him in the first 2 weeks because there was nothing to tell us to do so. And they were still trying to nail down a cinch trail even months into him going missing. So that's a problem, right?
Eve, when you were talking about the interstate line, do you think that could be like a factor or a main element here, like a factor for human traffic, let's say, moving a child from one state to the other one?
Yes, and that would be a federal crime if that was the case. But let's just say it wasn't or isn't, as I assume, say that it's to dispose of Michael in some way, whatever way that may be. You're still going over state lines, which still involves the federal authorities or a federal charge to be brought, depending on what happened. And I don't think that they know what happened. They assume Stacy is somewhat telling the truth if they charged him. So where's those federal charges?
Yeah. Another question here from, or a comment from Annalisette. She's talking about the river. The river was dragged for a long time. Is that correct? They dragged the river and they didn't find anything, I guess?
I've never heard of dragging the river. They did search the 2 irrigation ponds where all of the irrigation water dumps into. And they did go up each side of the river on the Oregon side and the Idaho side, like 30 miles up and down. And that could be drones, that could be boats. They said they did a very thorough job. And I think they had the federal authorities helping them with that, and locals too. But obviously didn't find anything.
Okay, thank you, Eve. So I'm gonna continue here with the video.
Typically, if you're covering, if you cannot get a cinch tracking in any way, shape, or form like that, it means that there was concealment of some kind where it could not get there. And there might be some explanations, I think, later on as to what little scent they did track, how that came to be. But a lot of people don't really like to hear that because it implicates people that they don't want implicated, meaning people close to Michael, right? So all I ask is just be open-minded. I'm not trying to sway anybody one way or the other. I'm just presenting how I know what to be true. And if it isn't, it's speculative, and I'll let you know. Open-minded. I'm not trying to sway anybody one way or the other. I'm just presenting how I know what to be true. And if it isn't, it's speculative, and I'll let you know.
Eve, the other time you were saying that there were like a bunch of people who had access to the Wandras residence because they were maybe related to the taxi business, let's say. Do we know if some of those guys or those people having access to the Wandras residents were sex offenders or something like that?
Yes. So the Wanderers lived at 1102 Red Wing, and right next door is 1100 Red Wing, and they are registered sex offenders. Now, Dorothy Starkey and Carson Starkey were once, together, but they did split up over time. So I don't know when that happened, but it was way before Michael went missing. But she would always come over there and stay, and then she would take off. So she kind of did her own thing. But she absolutely had access and lived with the Wandras off and on right before, during, and after Michael went missing. He had access to the cars. He had access to do taxi rides for them. And there's proof of that with Sarah Wandra's TikTok in October of 2021 explaining this.
Mm-hmm. Who was that person? Sorry, again.
It was their taxi company, Faith Taxi LLC. The
Okay.
Wanderers created in 2020.
Right. Another interesting thing you said the last time was about the guy who found the tricycle. Can you remember what was your idea about him? He was suspicious, right?
Very suspicious. Jim Smith, he lives on Three Rivers Way, which is the very last road, the end of Southwest 8th. And that's where that bluff sign is, to the left of that road when you turn into it to go down Three Rivers. And then, but before you turn onto Three Rivers, Southwest 8th, it goes down into private property, farmland. And that's what they call the bluffs. It's going down there, and it's like a big cliff like thing. And then there's a bunch of bushes and farmland below.
Uh-huh. Okay. And is the guy related to or is known by law enforcement for some fishy stuff or not?
I could not find anything on him except for I believe that he was a truck driver or drove a truck and it was over capacity once or twice, but that's it. Nothing insane.
Okay. Shelly is still very mad. Cryptex might want to get Sam's channel and go through it because this hurts all of Monkey's army. Okay. What about Kim Elko? She's the witness. Is a she or is a him? Who was attending the yard sale at the Wandras residence? It's a she. And she was the one who saw the pink tricycle there. Do you know anything about this person?
This person, from my understanding, lives on the Ontario side, and they kind of have a biased connection to the family. So I don't know how that's going to play out in a deposition. Just because you think you saw a tricycle in a garage, you're going to have to prove that it was there when Michael went missing. And how does that relate to Michael in any way, shape, or form? No one remembers this tricycle at all, including Kay, who is Sarah's adopted mother, who lives one street over.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where she got that from, but we'll have to wait and see about that. But I'm hesitant to say that she's credible right now because of her connection to people close to the family.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. The last time I asked you something and I think I interrupted you. So you couldn't finish your idea, and sorry for that, but it's good that you're here again. When I was asking you about the fact that Michael, he was not captured by any surveillance camera the day of the disappearance. You were saying me I had three ideas or three hypotheses. One was that the guy was like taken out in a hiding way, let's say, and I interrupted you at that point, so you couldn't say the other two ideas or the other two possibilities you had. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I do. Hmm.
So
So
what? Yeah, go ahead.
so obviously, my first concern is that he went missing earlier than what was stated because of the TikTok of the older brother saying last seen at 5. That was quickly deleted after being notified that it was there to the mother. And then you have the older sister not seeing Michael after she got home from color guard around 4:30, we'll say. So I was saying in that live that they're going to hold a lot of golden tickets for what has been missing in this case about Michael, and why wasn't he seen, and when was he last seen by his siblings officially, because it's been danced around and hidden, which I understand it was an active investigation and still is. However, it doesn't negate the fact that there were lies told about who was even there at the house at certain points during that day. So that's where my suspicion lies. And so it would be interesting to know when he really went missing and who actually saw Michael. I do believe that if someone saw who they thought was Michael on Southwest 9th Street where he lives, they either really did see him or mistaken him for the 5-year-old grandson down the street that allegedly Michael wanted to go play with. And this was something that was brought up in the interview rooms video in September of 2022 when he went to the parents' house and interviewed the family to get their side of the story. So, was there just a loss of track of time? Did he actually go missing earlier and no one realized it until later? That's the second possibility. Is maybe they just don't know when exactly he went missing.
Mhm.
And then the third possibility would be that it's actually a stranger abduction, and it could be somebody completely different or other people not related to the 4 suspects mentioned. So I say that because the timing doesn't make any sense at all. And him not being on camera at all,
And about that,
meaning Michael.
yeah, sure. There's something that I still don't understand. We know
Are
that
you
Michael.
muted?
Sorry, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, guys, in the chat? Hello, Jenny. How are you? I don't know if you can hear me.
Oops, I can't hear anything. Is it me?
I hope it's you. Can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me in the chat? I can hear Eve. Okay. Seems that I lost my sound here. Can you hear me, guys? I can hear Eve. Oh no. Hello? Okay, Anna can hear me. I think Eve left. Uh-oh. Okay. Maybe she was having trouble with the sound. Okay, thank you guys for letting me know that you can hear me well. I wanted to ask Eve something because there's something I don't understand yet, and maybe you can help me in the chat. I don't understand how Michael he was not captured by any surveillance. Okay, she's here. Cool. Can you hear me now, Eve?
Yes.
Okay. So good. So there's something that I still don't understand. We know that for a fact, Michael, he was not captured by any security camera or surveillance camera that day, right? But we have testimony of the neighbors. They said that Michael was knocking on doors to ask to play with his friends. So how so he was like all around the neighborhood, and there's no security footage about that. Or even when he was allegedly driving the tricycle, how so we cannot have that video surveillance material? You know what I mean? To me, it's like I cannot reconcile those elements.
Well, and that's a big problem in the early stages of this investigation when, you know, the parents came on Twitter and expressed, you know, the timing of, you know, how many neighbors knocked on, you know, he knocked on this neighbor's door and that neighbor's door. It changed so many times. And then, you know, secretly there was one camera that picked him up, but no one needs to know. And then it became, no, that's not true. So what I'm trying to say is that we were always confused as to if it really did pick Michael up on one camera on his street. And now we know it did not. So that's also interesting because that would mean that if he wasn't picked up on camera, but could have been, he left in a vehicle or a concealed manner, period.
No, that I get it. I understand that. But what I don't understand is if he was knocking on doors, how so there's no surveillance video showing Michael doing that, you know?
Correct. And so how would we really know that's true?
Okay.
I
So
mean, I
maybe,
know witness testimony is what it is, but it is the most faulty, you know, testimony and unreliable testimony. However, the most damning. So it's a double-edged sword. My question is, did they see Michael running for his life away from someone? I mean, was there anything that suggested that he ended up somewhere else and escaped cameras? How did he get there? When did he get there? And so there's just no definitive answer, no matter how you spin it,
or
to get any guidance.
maybe there's an answer, and I don't know if that's a possibility or not. I don't know if the persons who were giving that testimony about Michael knocking on doors, were they friends with the family? Because that could be like a cover up situation. You know what I mean? I'm being
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
You said the quiet part out loud that I have been hesitant to say because I don't know which neighbors in particular would assist in a lying, for instance, allegedly. You know, this is speculation, but it would not surprise me at all.
Well,
Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it's being looked into as we speak as to the validity of those statements from neighbors.
yeah, maybe a shitty question, but it's a question we have to ask because it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So, okay. I'm glad that I was the one telling that, and I didn't put you on the spot.
No, I appreciate you saying it because I haven't, even though I could, I haven't done that just to be fair. But there's nothing fair about any of what happened to Michael. So whatever happened. So I'm glad you said it.
Yeah, no, because it's crazy. I don't see too much possibilities to explain that. Okay, I'm gonna continue with the video here. Right. My understanding is that Michael, he was not captured by any security camera that was present in the neighborhood the day of his disappearance.
So she was in color guard practice at 7:30 in the morning, somewhere around there. So the only people that were there with Michael when he allegedly disappeared was his father, Tyler Vaughan, who was off work that day, who works at Albertsons. And the mother also works at Albertsons in the meat department. She went to work at 12:10. I think she left at 12:10, 12:15 to get to work at 12:30. She worked the 12:30 to 9 p.m. shift. And again, he went missing allegedly at 6:40 to 7 p.m. So why I say allegedly is because if he wasn't seen on camera, how do you know when he really went missing? Right? We're going by witness testimony. Anyone who has a past, everybody has a past. But there was definite admission from the daughter that there was neglectful issues and abusive issues in regards to verbal and maybe even physical at some point in her youth, with the mother drinking heavily throughout that time. And things were starting to get better actually right before Michael went missing. And she said this herself. She wrote a paper for her, I think, college thesis entry paper or something like that, which is very powerful. Everything that she said in that was the key, one of the keys, I think, that I'm mocked a lot of mystery here. But there was a lot of heavy drinking and definitely some instability with jobs changing and stuff, which is the victimology of Michael Vaughan. Like, what was going on in the house? What was going on in the family unit? Was there anything outside coming in? Which.
Can you hear me now? Don't know what's going on with I don't know if it's my system or if it's the operator, meaning myself. I just said that I think we lost Eve, but anyways, I'm gonna continue with the video here, guys.
We don't know that yet, but what I feel is that there was behavior that other people recognized and had documentation of not being aware of what was going on around, meaning an adult, not being very aware of what was happening with the littles when put in his care beating Tyler Vaughan. And so it wasn't just somebody random. These were.
No worries, if you can answer in the chat. When we say that the mother of Michael, she had like a drinking problem, that problem was like before the disappearance of Michael, or it was something that it was like a consequence of the disappearance, like she got depressed and she started to drink, or it was something that was that she had like before the disappearance of Michael. If you can answer in the chat, that's gonna be great. Anna, Michael's oldest siblings were adult or near adult at the time of the disappearance. I don't think so. Anna. I think they were minors, and that's why they couldn't give any testimony at the time. And one of the points that Eve had the other time is that the key of the whole case could be in the hands of those siblings, because they were not allowed to testify at the time because they were minors. So I don't think they were adult. Eve is confirming that they were both minors, Brother was 11 and sister was 14, 15 exactly. Shay, I don't know this case. I cannot say anyway. Taking out the kitchen so I can get electricity back in that quarter of the house. Oh, I hope your electricity issue is going to be solved. Anna, my closest connections claim Michael's mom, Brandy, collapsed while watching police remove Wandras' backyard, dump truck by dump truck, wondering if her son was in the soil. Another question here, if you know, or Anna, or you guys that you know well the case, we know that Sarah, Brandon, and Stacy, they went to Cuna the day of the disappearance of Michael. That house, the house of the mother of Brandon, that residence in Cuna was searched. Did the police go there to see if Michael was at that residence or not? Because if they were driving there, and if the hypothesis is that Michael was in that truck, I wonder. I don't have that information, so if you can tell me, guys, in the chat, if that residence was searched or not. I don't know. Shay, yeah, for sure, we'll be here waiting for you, Shay. Always a pleasure to have you here. Anna, thank you, Eve. I was told recently that one of them is adult. Now, yes, now maybe, but not at the time. Brandy was not allowed to be near the excavation. Why not? Because of the emotional issue, let's say, I don't know. Jenny, yeah, that's horrible to even say. Anna, I was told she could see the trucks leaving the neighborhood. Brandy was told to stay inside per the news article that was released that morning. Eve, the police went to the Cuna residence without a warrant. Ah, really? Without a warrant? Found zero evidence. But they went there with cadaver dogs. Did they do any type of excavation that? Or I don't know. Anna, cadaver dogs reportedly reacted at Brandon's mom's house in Cuna. But again, cadaver dogs alert to decomposition and cannot tell who they smell. Okay, if the dogs were reacting, that's interesting. And following that reaction of the dogs, did they do some excavation or not? Okay, they dug a few places. Okay, thank you, Eve. Got it. Okay, thanks.
April of 2022 for stuff unrelated to Michael. Sarah had assaulted a friend that came over named Tanner Butler, who I despise more than anything, because I do think that he is part of this cover-up thing. But this guy came over and was being very drunk and belligerent, and Sarah is very religious, and she doesn't want any drugs or alcohol in her home, and told him he needed to leave and kind of put a gun to his face. And it escalated very quickly. And through a dog bone, which I call him Tanner Dogbone looking ass Butler, because it's just hilarious how the report that I have lays out what happened. It's just a bunch of socially awkward people that are not like me and you, normal, that are a little off, that are just having these wild situations. Wild.
Eve is saying that she and we are normal people. I don't know if that's correct or not, but thank you for that, Eve. The detectives told Brandon's mother it was a leaky toilet. She got a plumber to check it out, and the plumber said it was perfectly fine. Brando's mom has been interviewed by news outlets and said cadaver dogs reacted to alligator. Okay, got it. Okay, normalish. Yeah, normalish. So I think maybe it's gonna be all for tonight, guys. I wanted to present the timeline. I'm glad that Eve called. I'm gonna continue. Yeah, working in this case is very interesting. I'm glad that Eve is with us, like giving us her opinions about that. I'm gonna listen to people on the other side as well. I want to make my own conclusions, but for sure, so far, Eve is asking very good questions here. So something is weird, something's not adding up. I found very interesting that
Fetal alcohol syndrome gets put.
I found very interesting that Stacy recanted his confession. So maybe they were not the killers, let's say. Maybe they know something. Maybe there are other actors involved in this crime. Some people with access to the Wandras house. I don't know, but so far no forensic evidence. Everything is circumstantial. The confession of Stacy Wandra was made under some type of stress when he was in prison. He was trying just to fuck up the cops to get out of the hole where he was. And anyway, Eve, thank you for covering this. Great job. Well, thank you for helping me because I'm just starting learning about this. And yeah, I'm gonna continue. I know that so far is not the most popular subject in my channel. It's not like in Delphi when everybody comes to talk about it, but it's gonna come at one time for sure. It's, I'm trying to pick the interest of my followers, my viewers here. Silence in the evidence. I would love to hear your opinion on this case when you are done looking at everything. For sure, for sure. Again, I'm just starting, I'm just learning. I'm open-minded, so at one point I will feel comfortable to give my opinion, to yeah, to give my conclusions once I have all the information I think I need to have. So far I'm just gathering information, talking to you guys. You are the experts here in this case. Eve, Anna, you have different opinions. That's good. Great ideas, great hypotheses, awesome questions. So that's all for today, guys. I don't know if I'm gonna go live later to talk about Delphi. It's been a while. So before leaving, please hit the like, guys, and share the video if you can. And just before leaving here, Annalise said, this case doesn't have the international attention as does Delphi. This case will turn out to be extremely weird and memorable. Plus, the time changed several times. Yeah, for sure. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being here tonight, and we stay in touch. See you guys. Thank you. Bye.